They, in fact, have been very passive. Consider only something like the fishery. There is no clear indication that the government is doing anything active with respect to fish plants that's productive. We don't see them stepping up to the plate and speaking publicly and aggressively about maintaining fish stocks. And so it goes. When you look at agriculture, when you see forestry, pulp and paper, there have been missed opportunities on the part of the government. I think that this problem about broadband and the cap sites has to be seen in the context of the government backing away from rural areas. And I, for one, think it's time we had a very focused debate about that, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Order, please. The time has expired for debate on Resolution 1033. As previously agreed, the House will now return to government business. The Honourable the Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would call public bills for second reading. Bill 117.
Public bills for second reading, Bill number 117. So the motion before the House is on the 6-month hoist amendment. Is the House ready for the question? Question has been called. Would all those in favour of the motion please say aye? All those nay? Nay. Motion carried. The amendment. The amendment is defeated. That's correct. Phew. Thanks for the guidance. The Honourable the Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to speak to close debate on second reading of the bill. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Bill.
I apologize.
Mr. Speaker, we're all having silver-tongued moments here. Where this bill is concerned, it seems to be a common problem. Mr. Speaker, so I'll actually try to say what I mean with respect to this matter. First of all, Mr. Speaker, this bill is a fundamental piece of legislation that will help modernize the way political parties are financed in Nova Scotia. It is part of a package of reforms to increase the transparency and accountability of our electoral system. Some people may ask, why is government so committed to having this legislation passed? Well, let it be. The answer is, Mr. Speaker, is that it's what the system needs. The democratic process in our province has shown a steady decrease in voting for the past 30 years. In the past election, only 62% of voters actually voted, our lowest turnout ever. And 2 ridings right here in Halifax failed to get even 50% participation. Part of the problem is an increasing number of Nova Scotians who are losing confidence in our political parties as legitimate expressions of their point of view. Collectively, the House needs to modernize how our parties are regulated and financed. Mr. Speaker, Bill 117 is a very important first step in rebuilding the public's confidence in our political system. This bill has several advantages that will go a long way in that direction. For the first time in Nova Scotia history, donations by individuals, businesses, and unions will be capped at $5,000 in total to any party at any level. This will eliminate the appearance of undue influence by any person or organization with financial means over our electoral system. To encourage more stall donors, the tax credit for donations under $1,000 will be increased, thus shifting the balance of party funding to individuals. Political parties will have annually to file and publish audited financial statements so every party member and every member of the public can see where the money is and where it's gone. As well, trust funds will have practical limits that will eliminate their use during election periods and never for political advertising in all of its forms. For the first time, the government will support the political process by funding political parties based on a fair system of votes received by each party in the last election. All parties, even the Green Party, who are qualified, will receive per-voter funding. With this public financing comes a greater accountability for political parties. The level of public financing is modest compared to other jurisdictions, yet an important element to ensure that parties are robust institutions capable of providing real choices for voters. Taken together, and when implemented, this bill will greatly enhance our electoral system and the rules under which we operate. During the debate on this bill, much has been said by certain members of the opposition. Some of the observations have been helpful and some less helpful. Mr. Speaker, but let me outline the principles behind the bill for all to understand. Mr. Speaker, our government believes in this bill and the reforms that it will bring about. The bill will develop with 4 overarching principles in mind. First, the perceived or possible influence of big money from any person, company, or union had to be taken out of the system. This bill does this. Secondly, public financing should never be the sole source of revenue for political parties. Frankly, our government believes that some level of financing from outside of government is helpful to keep political parties vital and vigorous. Thirdly, the principle that underlies this is that parties must be treated equally. This bill does that, Mr. Speaker. The final and most important principle is that the public has a right to know by whom and to what degree parties are being financed and how they spend all of the money they receive. Mr. Speaker, these principles are the basis for this legislation. Now, I understand that we've all had a one-sided discussion in the base concerning the bill, and what I look forward to is that this bill will be proceeding to law amendments where we can have a chance to hear from Nova Scotians. Our government is committing to listening to Nova Scotians and to listening to ideas that would come from all opposition parties that would improve the bill. But we believe that the bill provides a fundamental good start in this province. It's a real move forward, and that, frankly, we are saddened by the decision by the official opposition to not support the bill moving forward at a greater speed. Nevertheless, we are making progress, Mr. Speaker, and I want to make sure that progress continues. However, in that vein, Mr. Speaker, our government is committed to making sure that Nova Scotians who wish to contribute, small donors who want to contribute to political parties in Nova Scotia, have that advantage, and that it's not delayed. In that vein, it is our government's intention to introduce with the Financial Measures Act and to make effective January 1st, 2007, the changes around political contribution donations. That cannot be implemented partway through the year, and we need to do it now, and that's why our government is committed to that implementation. And so Nova Scotians who wish to, after January 1st, will be able to take advantage of the more generous contributions. We also intend, as a party, to ensure that we do not accept donations over the $5,000 limit after January 1st, 2007. We would call upon other parties to take advantage of the same thing. And the government bill, if passed, will contain a provision requiring any political party that accepts donations over that $5,000 limit to return it to their donors. Mr. Speaker, with that, I would be glad to close debate on Bill 117.
Motion is for second reading of Bill number 117. Is the House ready for the question? Amen. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Contrary, nay. No. Motion is carried.
Bill 117, entitled An Act to Amend Chapter 4 of the Acts of 1991, the Members and Public Employees Disclosure Act.
Order that this bill be referred to the Committee on Law Amendments. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, is the report ready now? Okay. There are some further bills that are ready to be reported back by the Law Amendments Committee. If we might have a 10-minute recess, Mr. Speaker, to allow the committee to consider the remainder of the bills.
The House shall recess for 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Order, please. The Honourable Government House Leader.
So the host to revert to the order of business, tabling reports of committees.
There's a request to revert the order of business to tabling reports of committees. Is it agreed? The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thanks to the cooperation of all members of the Law Amendments Committee. I have several bills to report. As Chairman of the Committee on Law Amendments, I'm a direct report to the committee has met and considered the following bills. Bill number 27, an act to amend Chapter 25 of the Acts 1996, the Fisheries Coastal Resources Act. Bill number 30, an act to amend Chapter 4 of the Acts of 1991, the Members and Public Employees Disclosure Act. Bill number 68, an act to amend Chapter 340 Revised Statutes 1989, the Pensions Benefits Act. Bill number 69, an act to amend Chapter 6 of the Acts 94-95, the Maintenance Enforcement Act. Bill number 80, an act to amend an act to protect the civilian employment of members of the Canadian Forces Reserves. Bill number 83, an act to amend Chapter 246 Revised Statutes 1989, the Labour Standards Code to provide employees with a rest or eating period. Bill number 92, an act to amend Chapter 23 Revised Statutes 1989, the Assessment Act. Bill number 94, an act to establish the Property Evaluation Services Corporation. Bill number 107, an act respecting midwifery. Bill number 115, an act respecting the practice of architecture. The committee recommends these bills to favorable consideration of the House with certain amendments.
Order that these bills be referred to the Committee of the Whole House on Bills.
And Mr. Speaker, as Chairman of the Committee on Law Amendments and Direct Report, the committee has met and considered the following bills. Bill number 61, an act to amend Chapter 293 Revised Statutes 1989, the Motor Vehicle Act. Bill number 95, an act to amend Chapter 18 of the Acts of 1998, the Municipal Government Act. Bill number 114, an act to amend Chapter 148 of the Revised Statutes 1989, the Engineering Profession Act. And Bill number 119, an act to amend Chapter 140 Revised Statutes 1989, the Elections Act. And the committee recommends these bills for favorable consideration of the House without amendments.
In order that these bills be referred to the Committee of the Whole House on Bills. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the government's business having been concluded for the day, I would move that the House do now rise to meet on the morrow at the hour of 11 o'clock in the morning, and that the House would sit till 8 o'clock in the evening or until such time as the government's business is concluded.
Motion is for the House to now rise and resume tomorrow at the hour of 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Is the House ready for the question? All those in favour of the motion, please say aye. Contrary, nay. Motion is carried. We stand adjourned.